start with you, and we'll go ahead and do our Long Island market. Okay. Can you guys see the screen? Perfect. I think so. Perfect. Okay. And for those of you who are not aware, we did a full new onboarding. So you guys may have been logging into BrightInvestor and gotten this quick start video. We redid a lot of our training to help make it easier and smoother. And so if you haven't already seen this, next time you log into BrightInvestor, you will. And you're also all going to see this pop up. So what this does now, based off a lot of your guys' feedback, we have created specific training videos for wherever you are in your journey. So if you're saying, I already know what area I want to be investing in, I just want to look for deals. If you click this button, we now have a specific video that is just about finding deals in your target area. And it's just me giving you feedback and practice over and over again. So you can find all of these videos inside of BrightInvestor down here in this onboarding section. You can go through them at your leisure, but we released this new training. Wanted to make sure you guys knew it was available for you. So now, let's go ahead and do Long Island as a market. Okay. So as always, when I'm getting started somewhere, first thing I'm going to do is look at appreciation, and this is for just the actual section of Long Island, right down here. So, Sarah, is there a specific spot on Long Island you're looking at?
Yeah,
Or
actually that whole strip is Long Island. So I
yeah,
don't think it goes yeah, it targets a smaller area. So um
mhm.
I mean where I live in the Holbrook area. So we can look there, but maybe like that.
Okay.
It's kind of like that area, but like maybe on the South Shore. So like
Oh, I see
looking
Holbrook right there.
yeah,
Okay.
like this yeah, this whole kind of like area.
Okay. So let's go ahead and let's check out this Holbrook region. So first thing I'm going to do is do my appreciation. And a reminder, I like previously I've gone by 2% per year. I'm going to boost that based off all my research to a 5%. Pretty much no market in the US appreciated less than 2% per year. So I'm raising that up to a 5% to get you guys in an actual good area. So 5% per year over the past couple of years, and this is actually at 7%. So definitely like the strong appreciation. And as usual, I want to see what's going on pre-COVID. So right before COVID, this area was pretty cyclical. Peaked around 420, fell down to 390. Peak at 420, fall down to 400. Peak at 420, fall down to 400. Pretty consistently. Then COVID hit, and we saw some pretty massive gains, all the way up to the 570 range. Then our interest rates started getting raised, and we stagnated right around the 580. Now, one thing I want to point out here, you do not see a massive reduction in home values here. So, in this point of time, when we've seen high interest rates in this environment, the fact that this market has been able to maintain its home prices shows that there's solid demand. And it's not an area that people have consistently wanted to stop buying in now that home prices are a bit more expensive, interest rates are a bit more expensive. So for me, this is a good sign. But it also is median house value almost $600,000 right now. So it's a little pricey. Now, next thing I'm looking at, as usual, is this going to be our population growth for the past couple of years. I want to see what this area is doing. Also, 5% growth over the last couple of years. That's awesome. So we have both a growing population and a growing appreciation in this area. So that's good news back to back. Really, that's two green flags for us, right? And then just following our recap methodology, as a reminder, recap is rent, employment, crime, appreciation, population, right? Looking at rents. If we were to pick up, you know what? I'm going to pause right there, actually. I don't know what kind of houses are in this area, so I'm just going to take a quick look. And most of the housing is single family houses, not too much multifamily here. And the type of housing in this area is primarily 4 bedrooms, 4 and 5 bedrooms, with some 3 bedrooms. So what I'm going to do is take a look at our rent growth in this area for 4 bedroom properties. I don't have that for 4 bedrooms. Let's try 3 bedrooms. Oh, 3 bedrooms. Come on. Okay. Let me see what I have for three bedrooms here. About 3,500 for our three bedroom rentals in this spot of town. Okay. So we know our median house price right now is about 580, median three bedrooms renting for about 3,500. So our 1% rule is definitely not getting met. So as far as a long-term rental situation for buying property here, I'm already a little concerned. And most of the housing in this area is single family four bedrooms. So now I'm going to do a real quick check on the income for this part of town, like the current data. Just want to see what's been going on here. And okay, wow, look at that. This makes sense. This is a very high income area. Not only is it very high income, over $140,000 median household income, it's also growing exceptionally fast. Like my rule of thumb is 15%. Anything over that's pretty good. So this area is both very wealthy and getting a lot more wealthy very quickly, which makes sense why the home prices are continuing to go up in this part of town. So if we check out our rent to own ratio in this area, actually have a pretty solid. Let me see what's going on over the last decade though. I'm going to save my settings. There's been a massive surge in the number of folks who are owning rental properties here. So 12 years ago, we were at about 22% of the population being in renter occupied housing, and now it's up to 44%. So you've got some high income people who have purchased properties over the past decade, have ridden up very high appreciation, probably when homes are right around the $300,000, $400,000 range, and have used that income to subsidize buying rental properties in this part of town, renting them out for 3,500 or higher. So all and I'm going to check out the schools here. Looking at this part of town, yeah, see also a lot of really nice schools, five, six, and sevens out of tens. Definitely attracted for families with growing young kids who are going to schools in this area. Definitely attractive for that kind of demographic. So we know what's going on here is we have high income families moving in. A lot of them are getting wealthier year over year. They're moving to this area with high performing schools. They're renting out properties at a faster and faster rate because we see more people are renting here over owning. So you have folks who are moving in here that can't quite afford to own or don't want to own yet and are renting these four-bedroom houses, sending their kids to school in this region, and are potentially saving up cash to buy their own property in this area where the home prices continue to peak over $600,000. So if we're going to look for deals here, I don't think we're going to find something that cash flows as single family rental in this area at today's prices, but it might be an area that we can do a pretty good flip in because we know that the incomes are high and people are trying to get as many rentals as possible here. And we know the schools are attractive and the appreciation of population is attractive. If we can pick up a property for $300,000 or $400,000 and flip it for 500 to 600, that makes a lot of sense for this part of town. Are there any questions about how I'm kind of whittling down what strategy might work the best for me in this area by looking at the market around it?
I feel like house hacking, that's like the only thing that makes sense because the rents are so below um where you would make any kind of like income, right?
Yeah, and we already saw that, right? We already saw that most of the asset types here are actually single family in the zip code. So it's a
Mhm.
little rougher for us to be able to find something that could house hack if you're going to be doing a multi-unit thing, unless you're going to be house hacking on a rent by the room strategy, which is
Yeah,
possible.
that was kind of my next question, which I actually pinged in the chat. But I was just
Okay.
gonna ask, is there a quick way to figure out like because I know by area we can see what property
Mhm.
types are local, but is there a way to just check Long Island and see where like the what area has the most multifamily properties? I like that would be helpful for me.
Yeah, so actually, based off our last office hours on Wednesday, we are currently redesigning this
Mhm.
data type to where when you click, you'll be able to go in here and just say instead of filtering it by the date, you'll be able to filter by asset type. And so if you can be able to click this button and just say, 2 to 4 unit buildings, and then the map will show you the areas with the most versus the least 2 to 4 unit buildings on the map itself to be able to find where the most multifamily is.
So will that be by zip code or will that be like would you be able to select like a larger region for that?
Yeah, so it will be able to do zip code and city by zip code. The
Ah,
You'll be able to do both for that. So like if I was in
oh,
Ohio or something, I'll be able to see the entire city and just say, where is the most multifamily in Columbus? And then it'll say, boom, this zip code has the most multifamily. So
that is what I
that
want.
came from yeah. So that came from you guys, just telling me what it is you actually want from this. So we're redesigning that for you all. The hard part here is that there's so many small cities that all technically have their own municipal boundaries that it becomes something that we have to be able to stack it. So I'm going to work on something like that for this.
Appreciate it.
You got it. Let's see. For those of you who are not aware, also coming up this next release on Monday is the ability to print your reports. So when you have those property reports, you'll be able to now print them out or save them as a PDF for some of you who are out there trying to raise money or get partners onto your deals. Other thing that we are adding on, I'll do a quick demo of this. It's not available yet, but you guys are giving me your time, so I'm going to give you a little sneak peek. Um, Coming on Monday, additionally, is let's say you have a property and you're going to look at something like this. Say you find a property and the local market isn't giving you much of information on beds and baths, but you know about what kind of property it is and how big it is. There'll be a little edit button down here, and you'll be able to override this entire piece of information and put in however many beds, baths, and square footage that property is. And let's say you're buying a property, it's a 3 bedroom, 2 bath, and you're going to turn it into a 4 bedroom. You'll be able to change the number of bedrooms the property is listed as, and then that will in turn change what sales comps we pull. So you can see how the value of your property is going to change if you add bedrooms, add bathrooms, or change the square footage. So we're doing that to be able to, some folks were writing in asking about their ability to work on those types of things.
Um, is there a way to, this is kind of something that came up for me a couple times when I was looking at properties, but is
Mhm.
there going to be a way to, you know how like with the house price comps, like what to see what,
Yep.
comparable sold for, we can check and uncheck ones that we think are more or less similar to ours. Is
Yep.
that going to be a functionality that we can eventually be using for the rent comps as well?
Are
Because I
you
think
okay? Is someone feeding you information? Like seriously, do I have a leak in my company
no,
that
it just bothered me
okay,
that I couldn't see like I could see it because I could print it out, but then I couldn't like choose which ones I wanted to be like incorporated in it.
okay. It's like it feels like I have a leak in my company because that of you knowing things that you're not supposed to know about the product. So I will also quick demo this for you guys. I gotta go I gotta go clean house. This is a video of my actual developers building that exact functionality. So they're doing it right now. So when you're doing a rental here and you have a property you're looking to do a rental, we are now going to be listing out the individual rent comps that you can turn on and off for your actual filtering. That's coming out soon, a couple days as well. So it'll be stack to stack. You can filter your first sales comps and filter your rent comps.
That's awesome. Just saying.
Yeah. I'm glad. I gotta go talk to somebody because you know things you're not supposed to know.
I'm just really OCD. Like I
yeah,
just,
yeah.
that's it.
No, it's great. So the answer to that is yes. We are doing that. That'll come out here soon. As well as all those rules of thumb that I keep tossing out in conversation, um, that are like, hey, all these numbers are what we're looking for. In addition to that, whenever you moving forward, whenever you click on a data type and you get a result, and there's all these numbers and graphs, there will now be a pop-up that tells you right here at the top what my rule of thumb is and what numbers you should be looking for and why it's important. This is a really quick reminder of what it is that we're looking for in a market. So just little things like that.
And I have one more thing that I bring up that has kind of been like also niggling at my brain, if that's okay.
Sure. If this is on our expansion board for new features, we're gonna have a conversation because
It probably won't be. This is a little bit more like just maybe just me. But like so
this niche.
yeah, because like when I've been evaluating markets, I look
Mhm.
at like so I mean I start with population and then I look at the zip codes and then I target those and then I look at like the income, target those, like narrow it down, and then I look at the rent to income. And so like right now when I look at the rent and the income, like it's two separate features. And so I do it by
Mhm.
zip code, but then I have to like write down all of them and do it like the manual math. Like it would be really
Okay.
nice if there's a report where you could type in the zip codes that you want the rent to income percentages on, and then the system just kind of spits it out, because technically like that information is in there. It's just that I'm spending a lot of time like kind of doing the manual math. And like for each
Okay.
zip code, it gets kind of cumbersome. So that's just one of the things that I've noticed.
Okay. So whereas it's not on my roadmap coming out in a couple days, but it is on our board of what we are looking to add is, and everyone else is here, please give me feedback on this, but we want to add two buttons. One is rent to price ratio, and one is rent to income ratio. Where if you click a button, it'll highlight the whole city and look at the rents for like a 3 bedroom and look at the median house price and then just spit out a table of all the different zip codes and what their rent to price and rent to income ratio is just across the entire city. So you'll be
Yeah,
able to see which one has the best.
I think that would help because then I could just click that and then just reduce my zip codes by that as well, rather than like doing
Right.
two different ones and then like trying to find my zip codes and then, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Writing it down. And
Absolutely.
so, yeah, that would be really helpful.
Rent to own and rent to price ratio and rent to income ratio. Yep. Rent to everyone else in the chat, everyone else that's here today. Can I get some feedback from you guys on if that's something that you would find valuable as well? And your feedback, your thoughts, things of that nature, while I grab my computer charger for 1 second. But yeah, please, either in the chat or unmute yourself. I'd love to hear you guys' feedback as well as like what could be just a little bit faster or a little bit easier or a little bit, just a little bit more. Oh my gosh, this is so helpful. Thank you. Give me 1 second while I get my computer charger. All right, I see one person in the chat here. Let's see. All right. Right, absolutely helpful. Okay, great. It's good to know. It makes it easier for me to justify, put some time into it. Lauren, Yuri, Christian, I'm gonna call you out one by one. Your thoughts on those types of upgrades? Honestly, more tutorials like this. Okay, I can do that. Keep doing these more Wednesday and Saturday night tutorials. Okay, good to know. Um, Timing wise, I'll ask you guys as well. These times on Wednesday and Saturday, valuable, easy to get to, hard to get to. Questions?
Good for me.
Easy for Lauren. Okay, great, easy, perfect. I'm trying to do one where it's like Wednesday night for kind of like after dinner, how to kind of calm down, and then Saturday morning when you're not at work, you don't have families or kids that have to go to practices or school or something, or one parent can go somewhere else, or spouse is out of the house for a couple of hours, so it's just you. Trying to give two different uh things going on there. Okay. See, great updates. Saturdays work perfect, perfect, awesome, great. All right. Rent to price ratio and rent to own ratio. Great. Okay. So you guys now all have that sneak peek of what's coming for, let's see here. Lauren, would you consider private lessons? Yes, I would. Sarah knows a little bit about this. I do some private work one-on-one with people. I don't blast it out to everyone. It's a bit more just private, exclusive, and I don't do it for everyone because I have pretty high standards of myself for the kind of attention that I give. But yes, you can also email me personally Donato at BrightInvestor.com if that's something that you are interested in, and I'd be happy to talk about that with you. And I'll put that email in the chat here for you guys to take a look at. So you guys now know about the rent comp section coming out. You know about the ability to edit property info. You know about the ability to we'll add the rent to price, rent to income. You guys know that we're adding linked properties. I told you guys that last time, right? That for now on, any property you look up will tell you how many other properties that owner owns. So if you're someone like Sarah and wants to build a really big portfolio, you'll be able to just really quickly see, hey, this person owns 25 properties nearby. Why don't I just go target this person and buy everything they have? I don't know if I mentioned that, but I have now. So that's coming out in a couple days. And then also, I'm picking on Sarah again. Sarah, when I saw the report you were doing for that, the call we had, where you were trying to send a report to somebody and you sent them the Bright report and it had the market research, but then you had to write in population and income in the email you were sending. I'm now adding population growth and income growth to the market report, so it's automatically on there. So now when you look up a property, you send it to somebody, it'll tell them the appreciation, days on market, new listings, price per square foot, population growth, and income growth right there. So you don't have to write that out in the email. It's
That's
just a little
amazing.
tweak. Yeah,
Thank you.
of course. You guys know that the asset type is now going to be able to filter by sources. So you can just look up what part of the city has the most multifamily. And you guys know that I'm coming out with the draw feature. So you'll be able to draw a circle on the map and say you only want properties in that particular area. I think that's everything I'm willing to share at this moment in time. You guys are getting a lot out of me right now. Let me go ahead and do some more reps on this in another spot. So like, let's say I have a lot of people right now that are asking about Indianapolis as a market. Would you be able to add property taxes per zip code? It's possible. I think it's more valuable to have the property taxes per property. But it's something that I could look into because we like you said, we're working on that fix for some of the property taxes. But it sounds like you're looking to see which areas are going to have the highest property taxes and where we can adjust for that. So I can look into it.
Maybe the rates instead of the amounts, because you can't really
Rates
get an
could be
amount.
good.
Yeah, like the rates per county or something like that. Because instead of the average, like numerical amount for the properties, I feel like the rates would be more helpful. That way you could see.
Yeah, I could definitely take a look into it. And see what we can do there. I guess mentioned on my last call, the property taxes we have in BI, we had a vendor issue that we're working through that is being updated, I think, this week to improve. I mean, they pushed a faulty version, so we had to work with them on getting the right property taxes for the 150 million properties nationwide, but we're working on it, and so we'll have the per properties property taxes back in, which will be great.
Yeah, I know that
But let me
there's that glitch that's being worked on, but I just on the property taxes point. Do you know? I just lost my train of thought. What was I gonna say? I don't even know. Never mind.
problem at
I'm all
all.
over the place.
No problem. So I'm just going to go ahead and break down a market and kind of look for some properties I might recommend. If there are any other specific questions that I can roll through here. And I want to go through a couple different use cases too, as well. So if I'll go ahead and be quiet for a second. Any other specific questions about a specific use case, a specific deal, a specific market, a specific how do you do that I can answer before I roll through a couple more use cases here.
I had kind of a general question, but if you want to be specific, I can hold
Yeah,
off.
go ahead. What's your general question?
I was just gonna ask about your take on like investing in kind of like supply steady like I know that the traditional approach is to go into markets that are, appreciating consistently, it's a tight supply, rents are strong, but like I feel like the best buy opportunities are in downward facing markets. So, like what is your approach to balancing kind of the risks to investing in a market that's more, kind of in a corrective mode, and that like there might be some loosening on rents, but you might be able to get a better deal versus going into markets that that have been very consistent, like Holbrook, which we just saw,
Yeah.
for example.
Yeah, so in a market like Holbrook, which is like I'm looking for green flags and red flags, right? So that's why I go through a recap, rents, employment, crime, appreciation, population, pretty consistently is my go-to every time. So the more green flags we have, which are growing population at of over 5% last couple of years, growing job market, which is our rule of thumb is 10 over 10, growing population of 10 over 10, and growing rents and growing income. If all of those things are going up, great. That's a lot of green flags, very few red flags. And conversely, right, we're seeing that those are area of high home prices. So when we see areas growing like that, the first thing that hits my mind is wholesaling and flipping properties or doing a rent by the room strategy. Um, that's what hits me as far as being able to find something that cash flows or what kind of property is the most convenient there. Now, when it comes to down markets or areas that are going through a bit of an issue, and I keep picking on this one because it's such a good example of this. I'm going to keep doing it forever. Maybe I'll get an angry email from the mayor of Evansville and he'll tell me to stop, but that's okay. Um, Evansville is an example of a market I would say has in a bit of a downturn, right? Because during COVID, right, we saw pretty stagnant home growth, like just operational between 160 and 180 to pretty consistently with no clear trend up
So
until COVID hit.
what
Go
is the
ahead.
difference? What is the difference between that and like the cyclical one? Is it just that the cyclical kind of went up to the same points and this looks more kind of like downtrending? Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when we were looking at Holbrook, it was more like kind of like they were going up and down, but at the same price points. So you said it
Mhm.
was cyclical versus this is more like it looks like it's correcting back down, but not coming up to the kind of top price. Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah. So what I'm looking at here is to say, pre COVID, right? When I'm looking at this, I'm looking for like this peaked in July of 2018, this peaked in November 2019, this peaked in July of 20, this peaked in April of 19. There's not a lot of consistency in where it was peaking in what months every time. So I would expect to see that every month in April, May, or June, it's peaking, it's going a little bit higher. That's not
Mhm.
happening here. And if I look at this and I say, okay, you know what, home prices have been relatively stagnant, I'm comparing that to COVID to say, okay, great, wow, there's some pretty massive gains, which is great, but that was not prevalent before COVID hit. So when I see a market like this, the thing that's in my mind is this area was not already growing before it was super cheap to buy houses. Then, since then, we see that it has had a massive fall off from 270 to around 190. So if you were buying any properties in the period of time between, call it May 2022 and July of 2023, any time in that year, you probably overpaid and your house value is taking a pretty big dive. Now, since then, home prices have started a bit of a climb back up, kind of a stabilization. But anytime we're going into a market where either A, population is stagnant or declining, B, rent growth is stagnant or declining, C, income is stagnant or declining, or E, our job market is stagnant or growing slowly or declining, then that means that we need to be buying at a lower and lower price under the median to build ourselves up some equity buffer. So in that example, if this house right now, if the median house value is 220, I want to see what can I be buying for 180 or below. I'm wanting to build up some actual margin in between what I'm purchasing and where the market's at, because there are not enough underlying market strengths to justify that this area is going to continue to boom at a rate that you need it to. So that's what I'm looking at. Does that help answer your question?
Yeah. So What about in a market with strong fundamentals, but
Mhm.
weakening home price, like weakening rents, for example?
If you have a market where you have strong fundamentals, so population and income and job market and
Mhm.
appreciation has been really solid, and then right now we're seeing a dive in the median house price and dive in the rents, go crazy. I mean, that is the textbook example of greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy. We already know that there's long-term fundamentals that are going to continue to prop that market up over time, and now we're just being able to buy it at a discount. It's the same thing as, if you're in stock market and, something where prices were trending up every year at 7% and they hit $100 a share and then they come down to 85 or $80 a share, you buy as much as you can because there is fundamental evidence for why this area is going to continue to do better over time. That's the best time to do it because you're getting it at a discount. But the reason we're willing to do that is because we've gone through this process of look at all these green flags that tell me this area is going to do really well over time. So I would 100% go in, like I'm doing it right now in St. Louis. Like I the other day, I'm offering on two different buildings here in St. Louis, in areas where rents have come down just a little bit, and we're seeing some the appreciation is stupid crazy, and I'm getting these things at a discount where they were listed at 260, and now they're coming down. I can get a four-family building that rents for $800 a month for $210,000. I'm getting it at a $50,000 discount because I know the fundamentals of rent growth, population growth, and income growth, and is all they're trending in the right direction.
Mhm. Okay.
All right, I have a question from Lauren Bozeman, Montana.
Probably a place to flip.
Probably a place to flip. Okay, let's check it out.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Let's see what we can do here. So actually, I spent a lot of time in Missoula, Montana. Actually, I love Missoula and Condon, Montana. If you're familiar with the spots, I love those
It's
parts of the country.
also beautiful. And you said that this is being recorded, so I'll be able to access this video.
Yep, this is being recorded and it'll be sent out to all everyone that's active user of BrightInvestor will get access to this.
Sweet. Okay, thanks.
All right. So what do we see? What do we see? Let's break this down. So pre-COVID, we see ourselves a nice little downward trend of home prices year after year going further from their $700,000 peak down to as low as 520 right when COVID hit. So from a price point, it was a declining market pre-COVID. Then COVID hit, and wow, we had some massive gains. Why? Everybody wants to go get their slice of Yellowstone living or out country. Everyone wants to relocate, have land, be self-sufficient. Makes total sense, right?
Yeah.
Huge pump. Now, when you see this, first thing you should think of, what is justifying that run up? What market fundamental is justifying prices going from $520,000 to 1.5 million? The
Well, they're
answer,
develop. Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
go ahead. Sorry, no, go ahead, please.
There's
Go ahead.
massive developments going on.
Mhm.
But
Massive levels of development, so a lot of growth, a lot of things of that nature. But from a fundamentals perspective, we're going to keep diving into that, right? Clearly, there were issues. That there
okay.
was nothing justifying that home prices should have gone and stayed at 1.5 million, which is why they didn't. And they came back down. They lost 30% of their value and are now hovering around $900,000. So we have seen that this market is corrected. And now, if we're going to be picking something up, the $900,000 range, as we're seeing here, right? I want to point this out to you. Since September of 2022, very consistent right around this range. This makes me feel very confident that this is going to be that is a market supported price point for where we are. Like 900 grand is very much consistently been what people are willing to spend now, which is again a 30% reduction of where it was.
Okay.
So next thing I'm going to look at, right, is our population growth, right? Let's get a quick idea of what has this area been doing. And I'm going to go back a long time and just get an idea of what's been going on in Bozeman for a while to see what has been happening here as far as people coming in. I'd expect to see spikes, in areas like 2020, 2019, 2020, maybe
Yeah.
some consistency has fallen off. But again, the only way that we would ever feel confident that we should be buying properties at a premium is if we feel like the market is pushing it even further. So very consistent over the last decade, population growth of over 27, 28%. So my rule of thumb, right, is 10 over 10.
Yeah.
Very solid, consistent population growth here.
Yeah.
So that's definitely makes it much more confident that there's going to be continued demand for this area over time. So we've known that population has been climbing, and actually the area with the most population growth is over here on the west side of town. So it's growing faster. So this is a benefit to us that we're going to be able to have a consistent demand of coming in month over month, year over year, over the coming years.
Okay.
Next thing we're going to look at, all right, is my income. I am willing to bet right now what we're going to see on the income for this area. Probably going to be very, very high, very, very fast growth for this part of town. And right now, I'm looking. It seems like we're going the kind of the same realm as was it Hoboken, or what was it, Sarah? That's part that you're living in. It's Hobkin,
Holbrook.
Hoboken, Holbrook. Thank you. Hobbit Town. Okay. So, okay, yeah. So 2012, 2018, decent income growth. But that's back in 2018, median household income of 60 grand, right? That's average for the US.
Yeah.
It's good, it's growing. But then we have to go from 60 grand to 84,000. So almost a 30%, almost a 40% jump in 10 years here. Now, same time, right? We know the median house price is now $900,000. The median
Right.
household income is now $84,000. The amount of income and population growth has been solid, right? There's no doubt about it. It's up and to the right. But those numbers in no way correlate with a $1.5 million home price. That's just not affordable. And so we have to make that assumption here, or a judgment here, that that home price was not supported by a population that could afford it. In fact, it must have been outside money coming in, because this growth and for this amount of income and that amount of population cannot justify a $1.5 million house.
Yeah.
So now if we look at the type of properties that are here, I don't know much about this area, we're going to find out. Mostly single family, but a surprising amount of 2, 3, and 4 unit buildings as well on the west side of town. Actually, there's a lot more housing units on this side.
That's
So
because of the university. Yeah. There's a Montana
Perfect,
State
yep.
University. Yeah.
Great. I didn't even know that. And so we have a lot more multifamily on that side. So my rule of thumb, right, is 10%. So there's actually, if you look at 2, 3, and 4 unit buildings, there's about 11% of the market is 2, 3, and 4s. That's great. So that makes me more confident I can actually pick something up there if I wanted to.
Okay.
So now we start looking at some opportunities, right?
Yep.
Actually, hold on. What kind of bedroom count? So I'm getting more and more confident that I want to be in this kind of western part of town.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna see what kind of bedrooms. I'm assuming it's gonna be large bedrooms, but I don't know. Yeah, okay, a lot of
Yeah.
4s, primarily 3s and 4s. Okay. So what I'm looking for then is, can I get a property on the west side of Bozeman that I can renovate into a 4-bedroom and sell for 900 grand? That's what I'm looking at.
Okay.
And when we look on the price per square foot basis in this area, most homes are selling for about, let's find out, $400 a foot.
Mm-hmm.
So fast math tells us that if I want to sell a property for 900 grand here and find some comps that support that, I'm looking for a property that either I can buy or renovate into about $400. Oh wait, sorry, wait, this is 100,000. 2,200 square feet. So a 2,200 square foot house that sells for $400 a square foot $900,000. That's my target. I want a 4-bedroom, 2,200 square foot property that I can sell for $900,000 on the west side of Bozeman.
Yeah.
That's our niche. That's what we're shooting for. So now I'm gonna do a real quick schools check. Some great schools here. Wow. We got 7 out of 10 elementary school, another 7 out of 10 high school, another 6 out of 10 public elementary school. Really solid schooling in this area. It's going to be very attractive. So now let's go ahead and take a look see. I'm looking for off-market properties that have ideally at least 3 bedrooms in this. I'm going to say in this 5-mile radius. In this little spot. No, I'm going to go more specific on that. We're going to say 3 miles. And I'm looking for things that have ideally over 2,000 square feet. I'm looking for properties like that. I've got 3,500. So we need to be a little bit more specific. I don't want you going through 3,500 leads, right? So we're going to say, can we find something that also has a motivated seller? Let's say someone with high equity that's an absentee owner
Yeah.
in this area
Yeah.
and do that search. Okay, we got 890. So we have 890 properties with a high equity absentee landlord owner that's at least 2,000 square feet, that's at least 3 bedrooms. So that's the leads that we're looking for that we want to flip into 9. So the next thing I'm going to do is take a look see here and say, can I find something where I can get it for, say, between 400 and we'll say $600,000. And I also wanted to have at least 2 bedrooms or 2 bathrooms and search for those. Oh, whoops. Did I say my price is, oh, whoops, 400,000 minimum, 600,000 maximum. Now I've got 30 leads.
Okay.
Here are my 30 properties with the right kind of owner, the right kind of property in the area where I know things can go for up to $900,000 pretty consistently.
Mhm.
Now I'm picking up one of these like this. All right. If it's all right, I'm going to go ahead and mute you for just a second. I got to think of a little bit of background noise. Perfect. Okay. So we have a townhouse. Okay, we have a townhouse here. It's been owned for about 3 years. It's owned by an absentee owner that bought it for cash. They own it free and clear. There's no loan on it. They bought it back in 2021. This property as a 4-4 rents for about $3,600. And if I look at my sales comps, and look, this is crazy. Look at this thing. If I look at properties that have an exact amount of, okay, so nothing is a 4-bedroom. That's okay. So it's a rare property. If I look for properties that are 4 bedrooms within 15% of my square footage that were built within the same 10-year period, okay, nothing's built in the same 10-year period, so it's a little bit older property. If I go within a 15-year period, you see this? You see this? Your comps are putting you at an average price per square foot of 430, so a little bit about 8% higher than the rest of the market. Because we saw that most things here are selling for 400 a foot. This is selling about 430. And you have 3 solid comps that are between half a mile and a mile away that all went for, geez, I mean, pretty crazy. So I'm looking at 3014 Lily Drive and 1014 Harmon Way. So I'm going to go ahead, click my little deal analyzer, fix and flip. If I can buy this thing for 560, put 20% down, and let's say, you know what? Our algorithm estimates this will be a $70,000 rehab. You know, we can always bump that up. I'm gonna say bump it up to say $100,000. And let's say it takes us 6 months to do it, and we sell for $955, which is already a lot cheaper than the other ones. Well, gross almost $400,000 on the property, in net almost $200,000.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, I do that deal. I do
What
that.
was
Yeah,
what was the
I do that
Harmon
deal.
Way address?
That was 1014 Harmon Way.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So the thing is, you got these 2 right here. They both sold for an estimate, and we have an estimate for 1.2 million based off our algorithm. So I'd be go checking those out. and saying, hey, these make, well, they're a little bit, they're about, now they are about 10 years newer. They have 100 square foot on you. So I want to compose that. But I mean, this one has a finished basement, has central heating, central cooling. That's an example of me saying, yeah, I'm absolutely going to go flip that property and go crush it. Because I can do the same thing here and say, I want to find comps in this area. No problem. Let me go find all the properties with like a 700,000 to $1 million valuation and go find those houses. I got one right here. I've got a 3-bed, 3-bath property, 2,000 square feet. It's owned by this guy in California. He's owned it for 20 years. There's one of my comps right there. I can just pull more and more properties I want to compare this to. And then when we're ready to go walk around, right? We can always just drop our little Google Map guy and say, hey, well, what's going on over here? What kind of house are we looking at? Like, here's that house I was looking at right here. Looks nice. Nice little area. Good well manicured lawns. Pretty. All right. More questions. As a reminder, again, onboarding. This is new. You guys can look at this. All these videos are just me explaining how I would do each of these pieces. And inside, all these videos will also be added into the help center for you to give access to in the future. So if you haven't already gone through these, please do. And as a reminder, we have a new Find Your Market tool. So if you click this Find Your Market button, it's going to take you through a quick market finder of all markets that I've personally vetted based on different strategies. So this might help you guys find some markets if you're looking to explore. Oh, whoops, okay. Any other questions I can answer for now on using this, what I'm looking at, how I'm going to make this thing happen? Oh, that reminds me. Lauren, quick point. Whenever we do flips, I'm always cautious because, as remember, when we're doing flips, we're banking on somebody else being able to afford our product, but we're the ones having to hold the property. So
Okay.
right now, right, the median days on market is between 40 and 50. Now, every winter, you see how it goes like November, February, January, 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 January. See, like every November to January, the market is slowing down. If
Yep.
you were to do this flip, let's say you were going on the market right now for this flip, on average, it's going to take you 3 months to sell this property. If you are listing it, though, in the summer, like in July or July or June or June or June or May,
Mhm.
you're averaging around 30 to 40 days. So
Okay.
if you're going to be flipping, I would love to get some things lined up like now on like a form or get maybe make an offer close by January, do a 3 to 4 month renovation and list that bad boy in May. Although because then you're cutting your days on market in half. In fact, even by 60% when by avoiding listing in the winter time. Does that make sense what I'm
Yeah,
doing there?
thank you so much. That's hugely helpful, hugely. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So like that's why I'm like I really, especially for flippers who are so market dependent, like, hey, just so you
Yeah.
know, if you list right now, it's going to take you 90 days to sell this. Versus if you list in July, it's going to take you about 35. And I would rather you not spend an extra 60 days of holding costs if you don't have to. So
Okay.
timing the market a little bit there.
You're smart. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Uh, uh, my goal is for us to be bright investors. Why we named the company that. And when other people are going in and saying, "Oh, it'll be fine," I want everybody here to say, "Actually, let's do this. I want to be bright about my decisions here and make good decisions. So let's go ahead and use the market to our advantage."
Very smart. Thank you.
You got it. All right, Cal. I'm in the is it Cal Co. I don't know how to pronounce that. I apologize. But you're in the Detroit, Michigan market. Can you do an analysis on a total gut rehab for 19 Co? All right, Co. Thank you for 1989 Gladstone, Detroit for hold or fix and flip. I can help with that. Okay. Is it Gladstone Street or Avenue? Can you tell me? I have 19 and is it street? Great. Okay. All right. So before I even look at the property, I always love doing this, right? Before I even look at the property, right? Is it a 3-bedroom or a 2-bedroom or what is it called? Go ahead and put it in the chat for me. The first thing I'm going to do is I just want to know what's the market doing around it. So oftentimes I don't have to look at the deal to tell me what strategy I want to do here. It's an up and coming area. Okay. Okay, so geez. So home prices are appreciating at 21% per year. It's pretty massive. Now we did start from a price of 25 grand. So definitely low priced area. Some extreme, now this is what Sarah pointed out to you. I would call this very volatile or higher risk. So we see these pretty big swings consistently. We peaked at around 274. So literally 10x. You guys are seeing that, right? From 25,000 to 275,000, the literal 10x in property values in this area before they fell back down to about 130. So they lost 50% of their value. And then since then, we've been a pretty consistent around the 120 to 150 range. So right off the bat, I would say I would not encourage you to buy this at anything over the current median of about 130, just flat out. So I like the appreciation, right, which is great, but it's definitely a bit more volatile. So I wouldn't bank on that for the coming years. Next thing I'm going to look at is the rents. So whenever I'm going to do a long-term hold, I want to figure out, are rents going up? 2-bedroom rents are going up 21%. That's great. Okay, how about 3 bedrooms? 3s are down. Interesting. That's actually really interesting. 3-bedroom rents are not doing as hot. So if you're going to do a full gut rehab you're going to make more money on a rental by have better growth on a 2-bedroom than a 3-bedroom right now. That's so crazy. How about a 4? 4s are pretty volatile too right now, up 15%, but a pretty massive reduction. So I'd be turning this to a 2-bedroom when you're estimating your budget for your rehab. But 2 bedrooms are looking pretty good. Now, population for this area, are we trending up or trending down? Trending down. Don't love it, right? We're negative 3%. So the only thing that'll make me happy about that or okay with it is if the income is going up really quickly. Because remember, a declining population but increasing income is sign of gentrification. Okay, and what do we see there? Incomes were very low for a long time. And now they're trending up really quickly. So declining population, growing income, sign of gentrification, right? Lower income people moving out, higher income folks are moving in. So this definitely tells me this is on the trend of being an up and coming area over time. Okay. And I like being able to prove that. So like I saw that you put that in the chat. I like it whenever I can prove or disprove something someone says with the data, right? So you can rest assured here that we're going through this process that you can repeat this over and over again for being able to say, no matter what agent, what wholesaler, what investor tells me, I can see the trends here. Okay. Now, for this area that you're looking to buy in, most of the housing is single family and a lot of 2 and 4 units, a lot of multifamily. That's awesome. And the most frequent type of bedroom count in this area is about, let's see here, a lot of 4s. Now we already saw that the 4-bedroom rents haven't been doing that hot. Same with the 3s. 2 bedrooms are a subsection, but right now at least, the people that own 2 bedrooms are being rewarded with the best rent growth. So their demand might be in the 2-bedroom section. So I don't know if I'd, based on what we saw with the rent growth, I don't know that I'd go straight to a 4-bedroom because the rents just aren't growing the way you probably need them to be. And I don't know how much money you're going to spend adding an extra 2 bedrooms.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So I think that the 2-bedroom rents are doing better because the supply is tighter based on that graph. But What
Yep.
made you choose when you were looking at the flip in Lauren's area? What made you choose 4 bedroom, 3 or 4 bedroom? Because that had more supply. So when you're selling, wouldn't you be able to get the best price for like say like the number of bedrooms with the lower supply? Or am I thinking about that wrong because it's a flip? So there might be something I'm
I'm thinking
missing.
about, yeah, so kind of like for a flip. So like when I'm looking at this for an analysis, right? If we're doing if he's going to do a long-term hold, we want to be into the property for the least amount of cash possible with the best long-term projection as far as what the demand is. And so the cost of money to furnish an extra 2 bedrooms, if it's a 2 bedroom property right now, and to add in additional bathroom and boost the square footage to a level that would be valuable for a 4 bedroom may not make sense if the rents are stagnant or declining versus just fronting the cash to make it a really nice 2 bedroom, and then you've less capital going in, and you're getting rewarded from a market standpoint because there is a tighter supply for that. So that's what I'm looking at to get an idea of, should he spend the extra cash to make it a 4?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, it looks like no. There are a lot of 4s nearby, and the rents aren't great for him. So I would rather see him renovate this into a 2 bedroom, hold it, or maybe with an option to make it a 3 bedroom, right? Maybe there's an extra room that can be made into a 3. But if he was like, if we're looking at this like, I want to renovate a property for the most amount of rent and have the best long-term projections, right now, that would not be a 2.
So if the appreciation was stronger and less volatile here, then it could
Yep.
potentially be a flip. So basically you're comparing like appreciation versus
Mhm.
rental growth. So like for the
Absolutely.
okay. And for
And
a flip, 3 and 4 bedrooms are gonna go for a higher price. Is that your mindset than like a 2 bedroom with tighter supply?
correct. Now, the other thing I'm looking at here, right, is the income. The income is growing really quickly right here, but the median household income is still only 35 grand. What's the price point that someone can afford on a $35,000 household income? And will that, likely that amount of money is not going to justify the amount of cash that Co has to put in this deal on a full gut rehab? Co, you might put in $150,000 on this property, and the median household price is 230 grand. People here can only afford, maybe $150,000 on the average. So if I like flips in a region where the income is really high, people can afford to pay you for all the work that you're putting in. Otherwise, right, we're putting in a lot of effort and capital up front for a market that may not be able to afford our product. So,
Gotcha. Would it
yeah,
make more sense? Because what I'm hearing you say, the market, the rental 2 bedroom is higher than, 3 and 4 bedrooms. But would
yeah.
it make more sense to do 2 bedroom, 2 bath?
If you're gonna make it to a rental, like a long-term rental,
I'm actually trying to analyze both. And
yeah,
from my analysis, it was better to do a flip.
okay. So if we take this flip, right, we take the sales comps. Was this property active right now? Is it on market? 1 second. Oh, it is on. It is. Oh, this is an on market property. Okay, it's a 4 bed 2 for 99,000. So if we look at the comps, right, and we look for thing that was built similar year, we're to say similar square footage. Yeah, I'm gonna say the exact match on the bathrooms. Yeah, I'm gonna turn off that $5,000 property. I'm gonna turn off the $31,000 property. Yeah, I'm seeing here that there are some decent nearby properties that have sold for 120, maybe around $100 a foot right now when it's all said and done. So maybe a $280,000 ARV and this is a 4 bedroom I saw from the listing, right? This property rent for about 2 grand as a 4 bedroom, but that is a little declining right now. So if you were to make this into a rental and do a rehab on it, let's say do a $40,000 rehab.
It was probably going to take about $85,000.
Okay, 85 grand.
Yes, rehab.
Yeah. So if you were to do that, right, on something like this,
And it
cash
was two
flows
two units.
okay, 2 units.
Mhm.
So it's okay. So it's a 2 bedroom, 2-1-2-1. You're saying
Yeah.
duplex. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So if I go ahead and pop that in, right, a 2 bedroom, 1 bath apartment, that's renting for about yeah. So so you're gonna spend on this property, right? All things considered, you're gonna have a property manager manage it for you.
Yes.
You're gonna spend $106,000 for a 4% return or $400 a month in cash flow versus, I mean, yeah, right there. If you can tell, yeah. I mean, well, I estimated 70,000. We'll put that to 85,000. Yeah, you put 20% down. You know, it's a little bit bigger rehab, so I'm gonna boost it up to 5 months, so increase our holding costs. But yeah, I mean, that makes way more sense. You're gonna gross 170, you're gonna net about $70,000 on the flip. Yeah, 100% flip this thing.
Okay.
100%, not even a question.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure that my analysis were correct.
Yeah. And Nick, you kind of see how I was going that direction from like the appreciation, the rents, the income, the population, like what we're looking at there as far as what makes sense for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think on a return basis, the market volatility for appreciation makes me a little concerned about holding it for long term for wealth. The fact this is 2 bedroom sides looks better for long term rent growth for each side. But we already saw the numbers are it's gonna be pretty low cash on cash for you for doing that level of a flip. And the income is still pretty low overarchingly for the folks. So that is one concern for me is the local income. Next thing I'm going to check out is just the schools nearby.
Oh,
Not a
the
lot.
schools aren't the greatest.
Yeah, not the greatest schools nearby.
Mm-mm.
If we look at days on market for this area, I want to see how long properties are taking to sell right now. Looks like they're taking about around that 57 days right now. So it's been pretty consistent too. So it's about 2 months to sell currently. It's been peaking in the winter at about 100 days. Wow. It didn't do it last winter. Last winter it's peaked at around 2 months. So this probably will take you about 2 months to sell on the back end. And I'm just gonna double check my math here on a price per square foot level. These properties are selling for about $81 a foot currently. And our sales comps had us at about $98 a foot. So I might even bring that down a little bit further. So if you're selling for about 80 to 100 bucks a foot currently, we're peaking at around 90 bucks in the summertime. Our price per square foot is peaking at around $94 a foot. Yeah. Hmm. I'd flip it for the returns for sure. My only question about whether or not to do the flip, it comes down to who our target demographic is. And because we know it's not someone that has kids that wants them to like an awesome school, right? So just who are we selling this to? Accounting for the fact it's gonna take us 2 months to sell, accounting for the fact that it is a lower income spot. So like if we wanted someone to qualify, right, for this type of income, um, wait, what the heck? Oh, the current owner bought it from the Land Bank Authority. Interesting. Okay. Okay, so this person's only owned it for a couple months. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I'd flip this thing. My only concern is the price point that you're going to be needing to sell it for, a little bit too high. We already checked the local appreciation, right? And most of the properties right now in the zip code, let me just do the zip code for you. Most of the houses nearby are selling for 130, right? For just this area. So you flipping this and needing to get 280 out of it is almost twice what the median house value is selling for. And so while we have a couple comps that would support that level of there are properties that have been selling and around that range, we are definitely definitely higher than what most properties are selling for nearby. To me, that's risky. You kind of get what I'm saying, what I'm pointing out here.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, that's all I would say. You know, we have a couple that are selling in that range, but not a ton. I would just the lower income, the days on market, and the fact that this would be almost double the median house value for this area are all the things that make me a little concerned about the flip. But to answer your questions of whether I'd flip it or I'd keep it, I would definitely flip it.
Okay. Okay. Decisions. Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I hope that helps too. Like whatever decision you go with, my goal here is to make sure that you're walking in knowing exactly where the risks are. So you
Mm-hmm.
can say, yep, okay, if I do this, here's what I have to go for, right? And at the on our fix and flip calculator, right? I can say, you know what? The end of the day, if I put 85 into it and I'm gonna do my ARV, we said like 280.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'm gonna spend 5 months renovating this property. You know, for you to make any amount of money, right? Let's say the least that we could drop it to is like 230,000, maybe, to make a decent little profit. So I just want you to have awareness of what your margin is. To like, wow, I listed at 280 and I'm getting like no bites. Like, okay, your kind of break even number sitting at this is really um like around $200,000. Like if you had to get out of this, your net or your break even is around 200 grand, which is still higher than what most properties are selling for nearby. So I just want to point that out.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it. All right, guys. Well, thank you for being here for today's office hours. There we go. You're absolutely welcome. We'll have our next one on Wednesday and doing some more training. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, please just let me know. And you guys will get that email on Monday for the new version. Let me know if there's anything else I can do to help. I know Lauren asked about it earlier, but if you're interested in, getting more private work done together, you can always email me and we can talk about what that looks like. And besides that, see you guys next time.